What if I told you there's a tiny stock trading for just a few dollars that's quietly working behind the scenes of 5G networks, satellites, and even military systems? Almost nobody is talking about it, not mainstream media, not big YouTubers, and not even most retail investors. But behind the silence, something very interesting might be building. And here's where it gets even more important, because if this company executes properly, it could be sitting right in the middle of multiple trillion-dollar industries. That includes global telecommunications expansion, space-based internet systems, and advanced defense technology. So today, we are breaking down a hidden stock that could either become a massive breakout opportunity or just another risky small cap that never delivers. And trust me, you'll want to stick till the middle of this video because that's exactly where everything changes. That's when I reveal the actual name of the company, and once you see it, everything we talked about before will start connecting in a much clearer way. So let's not waste any time and jump straight into what this company actually does. This company builds a very specific type of technology called RF amplifiers. Now, don't get intimidated by the term because the idea is actually simple when you break it down. Every wireless signal, whether it comes from satellites, mobile towers, or radar systems, weakens over distance. This company designs devices that take those weak signals and amplify them so they can actually be used effectively. Think of it like communication systems trying to hear something from far away, and this technology acts like a booster that makes the signal clear again. Without this kind of technology, modern communication systems would struggle to function at scale. And this is not limited to one industry either, because these components are used in space communication, defense radar systems, and advanced telecom infrastructure. They are also part of high-frequency data transmission systems that support modern connectivity. In simple terms, this is the backbone technology that helps different systems talk to each other reliably. Now here's where things start to get interesting. Because this company is not just riding one trend, it's sitting in the middle of multiple massive global shifts. The first one is 5G expansion, where telecom companies are upgrading infrastructure worldwide. Every upgrade needs better signal performance, and that's exactly where this type of technology becomes critical. The second major wave is the satellite boom, because more satellites are being launched now than at any point in history. Each of those satellites depends on extremely reliable communication hardware to function properly in orbit. Without signal amplification and clarity, modern satellite networks simply cannot scale. The third wave is defense spending, which continues to increase globally due to rising geopolitical tensions. Governments are investing billions into radar systems, surveillance technology, and secure communication networks. And once again, all of these systems rely heavily on signal amplification technology. So instead of betting on a single trend, this company is positioned across 3 or even 4 major global megatrends at the same time. That kind of positioning is rare in small-cap stocks, and it's one of the reasons investors even start paying attention in the first place. Because when multiple industries depend on the same core technology, demand can scale very quickly. Now let's talk a little about growth, because this is where investor interest usually starts building. The company has already shown strong revenue growth in recent periods, and this is not just based on speculation or future projections. We are talking about actual reported performance that shows increasing demand for its products. At the same time, management has guided expectations for continued growth over the coming years. That suggests the business is not just stable, but still in an expansion phase. And in the stock market, companies that are still scaling tend to create the biggest price movements when momentum builds. To understand why, think about this simple idea. A small company growing inside massive industries has more room to expand compared to a large company that is already fully matured. When that growth starts accelerating, even small improvements in revenue can lead to big changes in valuation. So where exactly is this growth coming from? One major driver is new contracts and customer relationships. The company has been expanding its reach and converting opportunities into actual revenue streams. That means demand is not theoretical. It is already translating into business activity. Another important factor is production scaling. The company is gradually moving from a smaller manufacturing setup into a more scalable operation. This is a critical stage for any hardware-based tech company because it determines whether growth can continue smoothly or hit bottlenecks. And this transition matters because most big stock moves happen when a company shifts from being small and limited to something that can scale efficiently. If execution is successful, revenue growth can accelerate significantly in a short period of time. That's why investors often watch this phase very closely. There is also expansion into newer technological applications. The company is not just staying in one niche but exploring broader use cases in advanced communication systems and high-frequency electronics. That opens the door for additional long-term opportunities beyond its current markets. Now let's pause for a moment and build up to the key reveal. Everything we've discussed so far, signal amplification, satellites, defense systems, and 5G expansion, connects to a single underlying company. And this is where the puzzle finally comes together. The stock we're talking about is Amplitech Group, trading under the ticker AMPG. And now that the name is out, everything we discussed earlier starts making a lot more sense. Because this is not just a random small-cap company, it is positioned in a very specific and technical niche. Amplitech specializes in low-noise amplifiers, which are critical components in satellite communications, 5G infrastructure, and defense systems. These components are essential whenever signals need to be transmitted clearly over long distances or in complex environments. Without them, modern communication networks would lose efficiency and reliability. That is why investors are beginning to pay attention. Because instead of chasing flashy consumer products, this company is focused on the hidden infrastructure that powers entire industries. These types of businesses are often called picks and shovels, plays because they supply the essential tools behind bigger trends. But now we need to talk about the reality check, because this is where things become more balanced. This is not a risk-free investment, and it should not be treated like one. The company is still not consistently profitable, which means it is still in a growth and development stage. Being a small-cap stock also means volatility is high. Prices can move up very quickly, but they can also fall just as fast when sentiment changes. That kind of movement is not suitable for every type of investor, especially those looking for stability. Another risk is execution. It is one thing to have demand for your technology, but it is another thing to scale production and deliver consistently. Many small companies struggle at this stage, which is why outcomes can vary widely. There is also the possibility of share dilution if the company raises additional capital to fund expansion. That can sometimes impact existing shareholders if not managed carefully. And finally, overall market conditions can heavily influence small-cap stocks like this one. Now on the positive side, the bull case still exists and is worth understanding. The company has exposure to massive industries like 5G, satellites, and defense, all of which are long-term growth sectors. That kind of positioning gives it multiple opportunities for expansion. Revenue momentum is another strong point, because the company is already showing growth instead of just promising it. If that trend continues, investor confidence could increase significantly over time. And when confidence increases in small caps, price movements can become very sharp. There is also the idea of being under the radar. Compared to larger competitors, this company is still relatively small and less widely covered. Sometimes that creates opportunities where valuation has not yet fully caught up to potential. However, the bear case is equally important. Lack of consistent profitability, limited long-term track record, and dependency on key customers are all valid concerns. These factors introduce uncertainty, especially in fast-moving markets. So the real question becomes, what is AMPG actually? Is it a hidden gem preparing for a breakout, or just another small company with ambitious goals and uncertain execution? The honest answer is that it could realistically go either way depending on how management delivers. And that is exactly why this type of stock is considered high risk, high reward. It is not something you blindly invest in without understanding the volatility and business model. But at the same time, it is the kind of setup that attracts attention from speculative investors. So here's the final takeaway. Amplitech Group is not a beginner-friendly investment, and it should never be treated like a guaranteed opportunity. But for investors who understand risk and are looking for exposure to high-growth infrastructure technologies, it might be worth keeping on the watch list. Because if execution continues to improve and demand keeps expanding, the upside could be significant over time. But if growth stalls or challenges increase, the downside is equally real. That balance between opportunity and risk is what defines this stock. And now I want to hear from you. Do you think Amplitech Group is a hidden opportunity before a major breakout, or just another risky small-cap play with uncertainty ahead? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you want more deep-dive breakdowns like this, make sure to like and subscribe.